Good morning, friends. It's Friday, the Friday before Memorial Weekend, and I just thought I'd do a little update on the gardens. If you look straight ahead, there's a Solomon seal plant, King Solomon seal, and there's a hummingbird feeding on the little flower bells. This is just an update on the gardens. Just a few things have bloomed, and I don't think I got a picture of or any footage of the rock bed in the back of the yard here. So I'm just going to show you, as we said in the previous one, there's so many rocks and boulders here, so I decided to make a rock garden. So over the years I've been planting the creeping phlox in all different colors. It was really in bloom, full bloom last week. But as I pan a little bit, you'll see the different colors and areas where, sorry for the shaking, areas where I've just plopped it in, like plopped a few strands of the plant because they have superficial roots. So if you're digging them up and you happen to drop one piece, it will root, seems to me. So in here we have several rock garden plants and ground covers and daylilies. I just keep putting stuff in. Up there we have the Solomon seal and some mayapple. Oh, and I just want to go back and show you another mayapple. A friend of mine gave me this plant. It's very interesting. This mayapple right here is a woodland plant. It is because of the tornado and we lost our trees. Now we have more sun here on the hill, and as you can see, the ferns are just taking over. I have to pull them out around the mayapple, but the mayapple loves shade. This is an interesting plant. It has each umbrella type of leaf cluster has one flower. It's a white flower that hangs down. It's very pretty, and it turns into kind of a berry, and then it looks like a small crab apple as it grows. And this plant was used by the Indians to get rid of worms. And also, in modern times, they isolated the chemical in there called podophyllin, which is used to treat warts. The little mayapple that comes out can be used for jellies, but the rest of the plant, if taken internally, is poisonous. But she's such a pretty plant and has that beautiful white flower, which is not out yet. It flowers underneath the leaf umbrella. Very pretty and very interesting. So we'll go back this way and just follow the rock garden down the driveway. Yeah, we lost in this whole area. It's really a shame. We lost so many pretty pines and maples and oaks. And you couldn't even see the sky really back here because of all the trees. But the rock garden's getting a lot of sun. And I have in here some bugle, or another name for that is a jugga. It's a creeping plant and it will fill in. A lot of people have it growing in their grass. It just takes off from the garden into the grass and it's going down. It's real pretty blue flowers. I have it all over the garden here. Up here is dwarf bleeding heart, and right behind it is it's down now, it's the regular bleeding heart. And after the tornado, I kind of left some of these saplings that grew up from the stumps of the trees. There's maple and oak, several maple, but it's not a really good soil area being on the rocks, so it looks like the leaves on the top have died, so I guess they're not going to survive. I'll probably have to cut them down. Here's more creeping phlox. This one's called peppermint. It's very pretty. It just grows and grows. I just let everything just take off here. In here I have some sedum rock garden plants. They're kind of succulents. And I have some hens and chicks. This is snow in the summer. It's just starting to come out and bloom. It's beautiful. It has kind of silvery foliage and lots of white flowers. Very pretty contrast. And here's another hen and chick. You probably see in my shadow here. And here's more sedums. These sedums are they just grow all over the place, and they have yellow flowers when they're in bloom. And there's daylilies here and there, and lots of rocks. And here I had this creeping phlox there, and this whole section, at one point I planted all different color creeping phlox, but the lily of the valley that was here before that just took over. So I am letting all of this area just get ground covered with the lily of the valley. It seems to like it. And then when we bought the property, there was this lonely white lilac. It's the worst place to be planted because lilacs like sweet soil, alkaline soil, and this is very acid in here. But I just pruned it and fed it, and a few years back I was rewarded with a lilac blossom, and it was white. So I prune her, and I just dump wood ashes around her so she gets a little bit of a sweeter soil, and she seems to be doing fine. And we keep going. And then this is where I started planting daylilies on the side of the hill here, just to build it up a little bit. So I've got some daylilies in here. This little area is in a little cubby, little cove area, and is mainly shade most of the day. So what I have in here, I let the ferns grow in, but I do have to pull them here and there to control them. But there's lots and lots of violets that just love it in here, and I have some hostas, and I have a little fountain set up for the phoebes because we have phoebe nests here in the back, and I have a little water for them. So that's my little shade garden here. On this little garden here, I've been building it up, planted some rhodies. The only thing is when the roof to the addition is right up here, and in the winter when the snow melts and if there's ice, sometimes the ice will slide off and break the rhodie. But right here is candy tuft. It's a beautiful perennial, and I use it all over the garden in borders, and it's snow white. It's one of the whitest flowers. It's absolutely gorgeous. Right beside it is called clove pinks. These are perennials as well, and they have beautiful pink flowers that smell like clove. The whole yard smells like clove. I read up on this plant, and it says they've been around for 4,000 years. The flowers are used you can candy the flowers. They're edible. You can put them in salads. You can make liqueurs out of them. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. They're kind of a dark pink. There's a white rhodie. And in here I have some salvias and also some more clove pinks. And those are not flowering yet. And more candy tuft here. The deer ate all the tops of these candy tuft. Poor things. And so I only got a smattering of flowering, but I think next year it's going to be great because they were pruned. So I've got the salvia there too. And on this section here, yesterday I had a couple of packets of red zinnia. I didn't know where to plant them, so I decided to open up a little bed here on the side of the driveway where all the daylilies are. And I planted 2 packets of zinnias and a package of Shasta daisy. I've never grown Shasta daisy from seed, and it was an old packet. It may not take, but we'll see. So I worked there yesterday. And this is, actually I'm going to walk down here and show you the Gibraltar azaleas in bloom. Oh, sorry about the wind. So this is the Gibraltar azaleas in bloom. As you can see, it's a beautiful tangerine. Just love it. The hummingbirds love it. This is the one I planted from the field when it was just like 4 inches tall. And now it's a huge, huge azalea. And this one here was growing out of that rock, and I just left it. So, but it was so poorly shadowed by a bunch of forsythias that it never bloomed. So when I cut the forsythias down, this plant got some sun and bloomed beautifully and grew. So we'll walk down this little path again that we did last time. And the hostas are getting bigger. And there's all Siberian iris. These are all daylilies behind on the rock wall. And all in front of that are Siberian iris amongst the hosta. They're invaders, so I have to keep pulling them out. And my irises are starting to bloom here. These are gorgeous. Let's look at her. Yeah, she's so pretty. It's so pretty with that dark purple and the orange of the Gibraltar. Over here we have I have a little knockout rose that I've been babying. It's a couple years old. It gets this thing called lice, leaf lice, that I have to control. It's only on that particular rose. I had sent a bunch of the leaves to the University of New Hampshire Extension Service for them to identify why it was dying at one point, and they recognized and said that it was they diagnosed it with a lice. So, and then these little orange California poppies just reseed year after year and grow wherever they want. I just let them. They're just volunteers. I just let them grow wherever. And this was the perennial bed I showed last time. There's Canterbury bells in here. There's bluebells, daylilies, all different kinds of things. I have up here my hummingbird feeder and also an oriole, Baltimore oriole feeder that I put jelly in, and we have fortunate to have a pair of Baltimore orioles that come nest here every year for the past, I would say, 5 years. Every year they come back, and I'm pleased and tickled. And this little area down here is a fairy garden. My granddaughter, who is now 19, when she was 4 years old, we put all these little gnomes and the angel fairy in here. And it's been there ever since. Keep it there for her. The peonies are starting to bud out really well. And let's see if we can find some ants on this. Ah, there's an ant. We'll go look at this one. Hi, buddy. That ant's enjoying that. And here's 2 ants fighting over their nectar. What I did was I pinched out the side buds on these plants so that the main bud will be bigger. If you leave all the side buds, then the top bud will be much smaller. Your flower will be smaller. And these sorbets, this peony sorbet is absolutely exquisite. It has cantaloupe color, a pink color, salmon color. It's absolutely gorgeous. Hope to get some pictures of that. And I finally, yesterday, planted all my planters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they all have marigolds in them. So those are done. This I pot in, and I have 3 of these pots in this perennial bed. They're annual petunias called bubblegum, and they are massive when they grow, and they add a lot of pink to the gardens because my gardens kind of bloom in succession, and in the summer months there's not a lot of colors. That's where annuals come in. So I plant these petunias in this whole garden in here between the orange California poppy. After the daylilies go down, there's not much. When the daylilies are blooming, it's beautiful because they're all different kinds. But those pink petunias really fill it out. Over here in my hosta bed, since it's such a shady spot, I showed you the hostas like shade. And over here one time I had some lemon thyme and I just planted it over the rocks and it has taken over and cascading over the rocks. So that's all lemon thyme. So if I have a recipe that calls for thyme or lemon thyme, I come out and just pick my massive amount of that. In this section, there's more candy tuft. I've been trying to propagate it just from cuttings and getting more and more as a border. And this is a gorgeous columbine. Beautiful columbine. It's white with lemon yellow, pale yellow flowers. And that's been here for many years. More marigolds in the planter. Oh, let's see if we can get that bee in there. Where are you, bee? Yeah, that little bee's busy. And this is another columbine here. This one has yellow flowers. It's not blooming yet. Down here are the reseeded Gloriosa daisies. I just let them reseed and grow wherever in this garden. Those will be blooming in the fall. And this is a white campanula. Beautiful white bell flowers. And more daylilies. Here's a coral bell, and that's starting to bloom. There's more Gloriosa daisies. Yeah, let's see. This plant is a balloon flower, that's right. And that plant will have beautiful bluebell, big blue flowers like Canterbury bells. And up in here we have more irises and daylilies and poppies. And another bucket of petunias. And this is another peony called Sarah Bernhardt. And she has beautiful blooms, buds. And she has fuchsia, dark fuchsia red, actually they call it red, flowers. So it's beautiful, beautiful red flowers. And behind it, I think a bird must have reseeded because now I have white phlox, upright phlox, not the creeping phlox. I have white upright phlox growing all on through that, and that will bloom in August. And this is my green stalked planting tower. I don't really know where I saw this, but it's one of the better towers. You can buy many different towers, but they have poor watering systems. This one is rated one of the best. It's wonderful. I've been growing in here for, this will be my third year now. I put the little brackets on the outside to hold up the plants because in the lower level, there's 30 areas to plant in this tower. So in the bottoms, I put my high plants. I planted my 2 bell peppers in here, and I have it on a disc, so I turn it every 2 days. It rotates. If you want to put it on your deck, they have little platforms with wheels on it, so you can just turn it every 2 days or whatever, so that all the sections have chance to get the sun. But I had bought a black disc here. I don't know if you can see that down there. And that turns. So I just grab the whole tower and turn it a little bit, like a quarter of a turn every 2 days. But on the bottom planters, I have, and these are all sections you take apart, you fill it up and then you lay it, you put it down, and then you fill up the other section, and it clicks onto the first section, and in between there's a little disc or a little little plastic plate that has holes in it. So when you water it from the top, there's lines in that the top tray is just a water. So what I do is I use fish emulsion fertilizer and mix it up, and I think the top holds 4 gallons or 5 gallons. So I mix that up, and then when you pour it in, see if we can get up and look. When you pour it in, it goes through that hole, and it goes all the way down through the tower and stops at each section into that disc. The little discs capture the water, and there's holes in that, and you have to set it up so that the hole is right in place with each planting section, and that's how it waters. But in the beginning, I water from the outside as well, because they're just seedlings right now. So I put in green pepper, dill, basil, scallions. I use a lot of scallions, so I have one whole round section of scallions, parsley, and on top I have all lettuces. Last year I planted some hot peppers. I also have cilantro in here. So you can plant like up to 30 things. You can grow strawberries in here. You can grow flowers. It's called Greenstock. That's the name of the company and the name of this. And I put the brackets. I bought the brackets that you just snap in, because once the peppers get big and the dill gets big, they start to hang out, and the brackets hold the plants up. And I also put in my beans. Yay! So this container has wax beans in it. I've been braiding my daffodils to get the leaves out of the way. This container I put in wax beans. I put 6 plants, I think, in each container. And here's where I've been braiding my daffodils. I have to wait for all the green to go into the bulb, and then I can cut them back when they turn brown. The leaves turn brown. And in here I planted burgundy beans. I have a bumblebee following me around. And these irises are in bloom. I have 2 different colored purple, actually 3 different purple colored irises. I have these. This was my herb bed, but I didn't have the heart to dig up all my irises to put all herbs in here, so I let them, I kept them in here. And here's a lighter purple, and then here's a darker purple. These are gorgeous. And I have blue irises in another section, and I have all different colors. I have a yellowish one. And the chamomile is finally in full bloom, so after I finish this, I'm going to come out and deadhead. I hate to cut them all down, but I might wait a couple more days. Oh, sorry about the wind. I'm going to cut down the chamomile flowers and dry them for my tea. So I made progress with the planting and weeding. And the next thing is I have to set up my fountain over here. My husband has to help me with that because it's very heavy, and you got to get the cord down and through it. And there it is. I like to keep it right here so I can listen to it while I'm sitting out here under the umbrella and looking at the gardens. Okay, friends. So that's about it for the update. When the peonies are in bloom, I'll take another picture, take another little video. And wishing you all a peaceful Memorial Day, and to think of all our family and friends that have died in the wars protecting us. And most of us have been touched by that. Bye for now.